Hello again, everybody. My name is John D. Healy. People know me because I produced a book called And That's How It All Started by Stoney McGurn, my good friend. Stories from 1941 up to recently. You can buy it on Amazon. It's also on audio. Stoney also has a little DVD out of short stories, very humorous stuff. You can get that by contacting me at jhfornews@yahoo.com. My sponsors are Liffey Van Lines, a moving company here in New York City. They've been around longer than Jeopardy. And when it comes to moving, let Liffey do the lifting. Every week, as you know, I have new guests, and today is no exception. They're from a company called Elite Cad Designs. Now, anytime I have a company on with the name Elite, I remember I had Elite Sports Medical Massage with Adam Cardona, and today is another Elite company. So when I hear the word Elite, I automatically know that these people are at the top of their game. So good morning to Edward and good morning to Vincent from Elite Cad. Edward, I'll start with you. Give us a little background to Elite Cad Design. How long has
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you a beat back. First of all, thank you, John, for having us. It's a pleasure. I've seen a couple of your podcasts. Very informative, very entertaining, and it's an honor. It's an honor for us to be on here. As you said, my name is Edward, a virtual design and constructability consultancy. Essentially, what we do in a nutshell is we draw, not so much in a nutshell, but to the best that I can describe. We draw mission critical mechanical systems for constructability. We take into account maintenance requirements as well as system performance. We essentially will draw, model, and coordinate in high detail for prefabrication as a standard practice. One of the great things about working with Elite Cad is that our designers have been on the field working in the trades. They've essentially installed the same systems, so they understand the impact of their installation coordination decisions. I could speak a little bit more about it, but who better than the actual owner of our company, Vincent Frasca, to speak on behalf of the many benefits of working with Elite Cad, some of the stuff that we've done in the past and some of the exciting things that we're looking forward to.
So let me go to Vincent. Vincent, I'd just like to start with my usual format. Like you're obviously elite in this business, of course. But how did you get into it? Where did you start? Where were you born? Who inspired you to get into engineering, I guess I will call it, yeah.
Well, thanks for the chance to do this today. As a starter, I grew up in New Jersey. I found my way to construction maybe about 25 years ago. I found my way to Elite Cad in 2015 as an employee and became a partner 3 years later. I have two great partners in the business, and that's how I found my way here. Yeah. My training is product development, industrial design, and it lends itself to what we do.
Interesting. I had another podcast on here a number of months back with Imrich Greenwich. He's with Bolt Architecture, and I was able to find him a client, and that was kind of my first eye-opener to the CAD design when he had to send a crew out to do a survey of a three-family house. And I was very impressed how they were able to do all the measurements very efficiently, very quickly, and basically almost from the ground. Is that similar to what you guys do, or?
It's a part of what we do. We do focus on more commercial or high-rise residential work. We focus on industrial work. We focus on processing, industrial processing, pharma processing. We focus on healthcare work. A portion of our business does include going to site and documenting what's there.
Okay. And also a few weeks back, I had another podcast guy on, Michael Moran. He's one of the top New York real estate brokers here. And we had a good conversation, about co-ops and condos and three-family homes. And then we touched on the high-rise development here in New York City, which is like rapid development and all that. And it comes with pros and cons, as you're probably aware of too. Like the further up you go, the higher up you go, buildings have to sway a little bit and all that. And then some issues seem to come up with elevators where they are going vertical, of course, up and down.
Also, sometimes the simpler it is. I mean, motion in buildings is a realm entirely beyond my level of expertise. I do know as buildings go up higher, there are more and more buildings in Manhattan that have mass dampening systems and such to compensate for the motion.
Well, I think when I spoke with Ibrahim from Bolt Architecture as well, I touched on a few things that are kind of pet hobbies of mine, like the Second Avenue subway where the Q train is on. Like when they took them a long, long time to build that tunnel for that. And then the mistakes they made in that one was curves, not building it in a straight line. So the number of carriages on a train is limited to what the bend on the tunnel can take. The same thing happened in my home country, Ireland, where they built a tunnel, and the clearance wasn't high enough to take trucks from Europe that would be 14 foot, 6 or 15 foot, and they weren't able to come up. Well, eventually they did come up with a solution. I mean, if it was myself, I would probably dig down another couple of feet. And if it happened to me when I was driving for Liffey movers when I was a young guy, 17, 18 years old, and if I was dumb enough, at times I was, to drive in the Bronx, and you went under a bridge, and you had a truck that was 14 foot 6, and the clearance was 13 feet, your only solution was to let the air out of the tires and hope you didn't scratch the roof. So there are ways.
Yeah.
Better to be
You were
prevention.
aware in time.
If you were aware in time, correct, yeah. So that's very interesting. I'm really fascinated to have both of you on today from Cad Designs, Elite Cad Designs, of course. Vincent and Edward, good to have you both on today. And the other thing I want to touch on a little bit too is in terms of measurements. Like I grew up, was educated in both Ireland and here in USA. So I was brought up with the metric system. Like in here, you have 12 inches is a foot and 3 foot is a yard. But then when you come to a meter is 3 foot 3. As a matter of fact, I have a good friend, his name in Mayo, his nickname is called 2 meters because he's 6 foot 6. That's what 2 meters is, 6 foot 6. So is your system able to convert to metric if the customer or client wanted it?
We have been required to do that on a variety of occasions. Typically, if we're working for an organization that is based overseas, they'll request data from us or drawings from us that are in the metric system. Absolutely.
Right. That's good to know too. And the other thing that I sometimes come to all my podcasts, even if I'm talking to Adam from Elite Sports Medical Massage Therapists, is people want to know the cost, or how much is it? Do you charge by the hour, by the inch, by the meter?
It depends. It depends. New York City or tri-state area work functions largely, at least construction related on an hourly basis. We do furnish project rates. We do T&M work. It really matters the scope of work, the size of the job, the complexity of the project, if it's an existing condition, how congested it is. I mean, there's a whole wide variety of factors that influence the pricing, absolutely. And if we're talking about a reality capture, documenting what's on site, some people are more comfortable with us furnishing a per square foot rate.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, the industry, depending on who you are, your motive is to reduce the cost to build per square foot.
Okay.
Whereas if you're one of the trades installing, your motive might be to increase the number of hours that you have on the job. That's really how our the pricing sort of comes out. It's
and now that we touched on that, I mean, I always emphasize quality on my podcast. I did one about my own restaurant in Ireland, which I had to design myself and build. And I was careful at the time to build it to the highest possible specifications, because we just see what happened in Turkey in the last 10 days with the earthquake, where very poor quality construction was allowed. Now, on the one hand, some pet hates I have, and that would be like the Department of Buildings. They seem to be so inefficient. And inefficient is one thing, but to be able to produce a high standard of efficiency combined with a high standard of output. Is the Department of Buildings a headache for you, or do you just love
for us? I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would say it's rare that we ever deal with them directly.
Okay.
Are they inefficient? I think maybe they're just overwhelmed. I mean, that's been my take on it. I mean, there's going on in New York City, and how large an organization are you going to build out to cover all that ground? But yeah, I think that the building standards, New York is a union city, and the union holds a high standard.
Right.
There's a flood of non-union organizations moving in on Manhattan, as an example, and maybe the standard isn't necessarily so strict. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, our building standards in the United States are strict. There's a lot
Very
of
good.
codes out here too, and I mean, you can just look at the city and see the quality of work.
Excellent. Yeah. And let me see what else I have to ask you. So you mainly have to interact. So would it be mostly architects or engineers or design companies?
It depends. So, we're a specialty consultant. Who we work for matters, when we're entering the cycle. So sometimes the majority of the work we do, we work for the installers, for the trades. We prepare the drawings that they need to work from in the field. We
Okay.
prepare the drawings that they would need to build components from in the fabrication shop.
Right.
That's historically been the majority of our work. However,
Okay.
within the past 6 years, it's been changing up a little bit. A portion of our work is directly for architects and engineers.
Mhm.
With a different scope and entering at a different moment. We're entering before the trades are brought on, to document the existing condition and produce a base set of drawings or model that all the design and engineering would be coordinated over or developed over. Sometimes, more often now, we're being brought in by I would describe it as the project owner. That could be the owner
Okay.
developer. It could be an owner's rep. It could be the architect or engineer on the project or construction manager on the project if they're prime. We're brought in ahead of the trades to model and coordinate in a pre-construction coordination cycle.
Right.
So that the document set being put out for bid is fully coordinated, and the trades could be brought on simply to install. This is
Right.
starting to happen for us more often. It's always a bumpy road, but it's we work for pretty much any organization in the
Right.
construction food chain.
And would I be correct in saying that a lot of your clients have been the same clients for a number of years?
Very many of our customers are repeat customers. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a very strong marketing effort, and so we live off of those organizations that we do repeat business for.
Well, it's like similar to Liffey Van Lines. Like a lot of our work comes from referrals because like we're almost 50 years in the business. So if we're dealing with clients in Fifth Avenue and Park Avenue, they want the elite of the moving world. That would be Liffey, of course, Liffey moving and storage. And I guess just like Adam Cardona, he's on Park Avenue with his sports massage therapy and training. So it's important to be at the top of your game, I guess, is what I'm trying to emphasize.
Oh
And
yeah,
back again to quality. How
isn't
can
that the
people
way of the
contact you?
world? Isn't that the
It
way of
is
the
the way of the world.
we
Yeah.
We go out of the competition is high for
Right.
organizations like ours. We compete with local sofa surfers. We compete with small organizations that draw one system. We compete with very many organizations that are further afield,
Right.
based out of California or Chicago, etc. But we do compete heavily with organizations that are based in India, South America, China, and these groups undercut dramatically. So that really the only thing we can stand on is the quality of our work, and overperforming or over delivering as a differentiator.
Right.
It's likely that our customers do opt to use a foreign group to reduce costs because they'll produce similar for pennies on the dollar, but the quality is so much lower and the deliverable set is limited. And so, yeah, it's the way of the world. You need
Way it
to
works, yeah.
deliver quality.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, if China, for example, can put a CAD machine, CAD design into a balloon. You don't have to gas up the balloon to get it to fly over top of a high rise, or hopefully it doesn't fall down and hurt someone. How can people contact you, Edward and Vincent? Have you a website?
We do. We have a website.
Yeah, you can EliteCADDesigns.com would be the way to reach us. You can get a visual presentation of what it is we do. You can call me directly if you want if you have any questions, any service requests. You can reach me at 347-595-3767, available 24 hours a day. And we would love the opportunity.
I already referred Edward, yourself, to Pat McGettrick from the Shawmut Construction Company here in New York City. Thank you
very much for that. Thank you so much.
And I also referred you to LTB Mechanical, their heating and ventilation company here, and they're up and down 5th and Park Avenue as well. And it'd be remiss of me not to mention Healy Woodworks. That's my own nephews. They do a whole gamut of construction, from woodwork to tiling to electrical, plumbing, all of it. And they're based out in Masbeth, and I have other contacts there. So I'll be happy to spread the good news of Elite CAD Designs. And let me see, have we anything else to talk about? I don't think we do.
No, that was awesome.
Thanks for the opportunity to do this.
Okay, I'd like to talk to both of you, and a very interesting topic. I'm sure Ibrahim from Bolt will be tuned in to watch this. Vincent and Edward, I want to say goodbye to both of you, okay?
Great.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay, forward and upwards. Okay, bye-bye for now.